Okay guys, so welcome back. We continuing this long question with the ABC method, and I just want to remind you of the steps for the ABC method. So step 1, we're going to find the total components of overhead, and that in this question was nicely laid out for us. It's machine, department setup, stores receiving, inspection, materials handling. So that's the components. The next step would be whether these costs are fixed and variable, but in this question there's no indication, so it would not matter. So that would be step 2. Step 3, so just to see in this question, step 2 is not really relevant. Step 3 is the cost drivers, which is also given to us. So there's the respective cost drivers. So it's machine hours for machine department, production runs or setup, stores receiving is requisition, inspection is production runs, and orders executed is materials handling. So that is step 3. Alright, then again, these step 4 and 5 is got to do with whether you have fixed or variable costs, because that determines whether you have practical capacity for fixed costs or actual capacity for variable costs. In this question there's no practical capacity, so you just can assume everything is actual. So step 4 5 is kind of irrelevant because everything else is going to be actual capacity. So what that basically means is that we want to know what the actual machine hours are, the actual production runs are, actual requisitions, actual production runs again, and actual orders executed. Okay, so let's actually go and just have a look at that. And you can see the memo is nicely laid out. So here we have, these are components of overheads, and then our different activities. So machine hours, we've already worked out that the actual machine hours is 10,000. Okay, then setup costs. Well, how do we get to that? So setup costs is based on production runs, okay, and they're telling us that two products are similar and the production runs are 40 units. So if I produce 1,600 units divided by 40, that will be 40 runs, and if I take 1,200 units divided by 20 units, that will be 60 runs. So basically I have 60 plus 40. Alright, so that gives you the 100. Okay, so as you can see, there's the formula. 100,000 units, 1,600 units divided by 40 units per run gives you 40 runs, and 1,200 divided by 20 units per run gives you 60 runs, and 60 plus 40 is 100 runs. Then the next component is stores receiving, which is based on requisitions raised, and here they're telling us the requisitions raised was 40 for A, 12 for B, so that's just added together. You'll get to that 52. Inspection is also based on production runs, and we've already worked out production runs there, so that's also just going to be 100. And then lastly, orders executed. There they give us 84 for A, 56 for B, so it's just the two added together. And that will give you the 140. So once you have different components, the different cost drivers, and the total for each cost driver, we can then do step number 6, which is effectively just calculating the rate. So you'll see this table I would advise is quite useful to use in the exam. You just take effectively this cost divided by that column for all of those. Okay, and then lastly, the last step would be to allocate these rates to the respective products. So just a reminder, this is 12 Rand per machine hour. Product A uses 6,400 machine hours. How do we get to that? Well, it's 1,600 units times by 40 Rand. Sorry, here we go. It's 1,600 units times by 4 hours per machine, 4 machine hours per unit, and then 1,200 units times 3 machine hours per unit. So that's the 6, 4, and the 3, 6. The setup costs is it's 40 setups for A times by the 100, it gives you, times by the 600, it gives you 24, and 60 setups or production runs, for B. So 60 times the 600 is 36,000. Sorry, it's running out here. And then stores receiving, this was given to us, it's requisitions raised. Requisitions raised. It's 40 times that rate and 12 times that rate, which gives us these totals respectively. And lastly, inspection, it's again based on production runs, but it will be 40 times this rate and 60 times this rate. And then lastly, it is orders executed, which will be 84 times 370 and 56 times 370. That will give you the total. If you add up all of this, it will give you the total overheads. Okay, that will give you the total overheads: 158.95 for A, 134.905 for B. Very importantly, this required asked us specifically for that we must calculate it per unit. So, and this is in total. So to get it per unit, I simply divide by 1,600 units for A and 1,200 units for B, and then I get the overhead cost per unit respectively. And then these amounts was given to us in the question. And remember, it's exactly the same as the amounts under the traditional method, because direct labor or direct material is exactly the same whether you use the ABC method or the traditional method. Okay, but remember, total cost is overheads plus direct material plus direct labor. So then that will give you the total cost for A, and that will give you the total cost per unit for B. And just notice now that previously A was 202, now it is 184. So clearly you can see previously A was overpriced, B was 175, and now it is 199. So you can see B was underpriced. And again, overpricing or underpricing is a problem, because if you overprice, you might sell your product and price your product too high and people will not buy it, so your demand will go down. If you underprice, you might undercost your product, so you might sell at a price, but you could actually have charged a higher price because your product is worth more. It's actually more expensive. So yeah, so that is the long questions and effectively the crux of what you need to know from a calculation perspective for ABC. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that. If there are any concerns, please check the discussion forum, watch the video again, and really hope that you found this week of ABC useful. Thanks so much. Cheers. Bye.